Aprilia, and the Aprilia Mille and the Mille R. They've always been good, but they've been improved. Been inspired by Troy Corsa's exploits this year. They've got more power, less weight, better ride, better looks, and new colours. But now we've got something completely new. Now this is the Capo Nord. This is their big trailer, and it's still part of the RSV family because the engine is the same, or at least the same basic design. Retuned, of course, remapped and all the rest of it for a trailer. Even the frame is basically the same design, but rejigged, of course, again for this big monster bike with a massive tank and this monster fairing, which is a bit strange on a trailer. But Aprilia have got yet something else, their new touring bike. Come with me. And this is the new Futura, complete with its edge styling, very much like the Ford Focus when you look at it. All these sharp edges adds to the aerodynamic effect, keeps the rider nice and comfy in a little air pocket. Their first proper tourer. Again, it follows the RSV family, same engine, retuned, same frame, but they've stretched the wheelbase that little bit. And if you look down here, single-sided swinging arm, very much a la MV, VFR, and also Ducatis, of course. Also, it's got a centre stand, which is ace when you're actually touring on the bike. Single exhaust at the back there, exiting right in the centre. That means you're all clear for putting panniers on. There's no problems there. Altogether, it looks pretty tasty, pretty functional, and probably another success story for Aprilia. The Futura produces 113 brake horsepower, which is 17 down on an ordinary RSV, but plenty for touring. Very similar to the VFR, the ST4, and all the rest of the touring bikes. It'll cost you $8,700 as against the VFR, which is $799. So it's well and truly in the ballpark.
Look at that, it's not fair, you know. My Uncle Jeff's over there on all the new fancy Aprilias, and what do I end up doing? Giving blinking leaflets out. But hey, it's a job, isn't it, really? You like a leaflet, sir? Thank you very much indeed, you're a scholar. Enjoy the show.
Now, we're always telling you, lock your bike up, make sure it's really, really secure, because just look what some thieving swine's done to this, eh? You can't leave anything, can you?
While no one's looking, just come here a minute. I want to show something brand new. Now, you might not have heard of this product before. Joe Rocket. It's a Canadian brand. Beautiful, posy stuff. Well, what's new is the product is being imported into the country. So very, very soon, this stuff will be available on the shelf. So you're thinking to yourself, what's so exciting about a pair of gloves? Just check this out. A beautiful, look at that, one-piece racing suit. It's big in the States because these guys make most of Harley-Davidson's suits for all the races and so on. So everybody over there knows about it, and very, very soon you'll know a lot more because you'll see an awful lot more.
Harley-Davidson. Now I know what you're thinking, but this is something different. This is mad, this is French, and this is for hill climbs. Hill climbs when the road's like that, or not the road, the grass. Look at this engine there, chain there, look at the length of the chain, and look at this back tyre with these great big spikes. The French must be absolutely mad.
Do you remember this? The Sachs Roadster 650. I tested it a little while back now and I slagged it off because it was a horrible colour. It was called Volvo Aubergine and it was pretty yucky. Well, here it is now at the show, looking much better in this new colour called Blue Black. Tons better, that big improvement. Just proof again that if you do enough moaning, things eventually get done. But that's only one of the attractions on the Sachs stand. This, I'm going to show you, this is a world exclusive. Now, what are you doing down there?
I'm just having a look.
I'm going to unveil this.
It's never been seen before.
No, we'll take the cover off.
Oh, you mean I'm allowed to do that?
Take the cover off, Wayne.
You are. Thanks, Paul. I'm honoured.
Right, take it off, fold it up.
Fold it up?
Now clear it off. Okay.
Cheers, mate.
He's gone. This is a brand new model from Sachs. It's the Sachs Roadster 800. Again, it uses a donor engine from Suzuki, VL800 motor out of a Marauder. And whatever you want to say about it, it's a nice, smart-looking cruiser. Dead easy to ride, plenty of power, it's user-friendly. No problem at all on this, and the best thing about this is it's only just over £5,500, which is damn good value for money in anyone's book. But the star attraction of the show, and I say the show, not just of this stand, is this. Because the number of people that I've heard today say this is the best bike in the whole of the NEC here. You can't disagree, can you? It's a Sachs Beast, and it looks like a beast, doesn't it? A concept bike, really. V-twin motor, 1,000 cc's, 100 brake horsepower and only 150 kilograms in weight. So if you work out that power to weight ratio, I don't know what it is, but it's going to be very, very impressive. But it's not until you start to look really close at the details that you start to appreciate what it is. I mean, at the front, it's like something sort of Mad Max meets Top Gun or something like that. Very, very strange. Little stacked headlight there, tiny little instrument display on the front there. But it's got no frame. If you look closer, there's no frame really. There's a little bit of a frame there under the tank, and then it ends, that's it. Big bracket there off the cylinder to hold it all together. Oil cooler is in there. There's another radiator down there, but there's one actually incorporated into there. Huge, God knows how many pot calipers there. Massive big stopping power there. And the whole thing is just gorgeous. Look at that. It's absolutely fantastic. If you want to impress your mates, this is the bike to have. But will you be able to have one? Well, we don't really know, because Mr. Sachs, the man from Sachs, he's here. And I've asked him, and everyone's been asking the same thing. How much? When can I have one? Well, there's no easy answer to that. It's a concept bike. It may go into production. If it does, what they'll do is they'll use the best bits of this. It won't actually look like this, unfortunately. Now, no amount of talking about this would possibly do it justice, so I'll just leave you to have a little look.
Oi, oi, come up here and join me. Now look at this. This is a little Piaggio Zip. The difference between this and other Zips that you may have seen is this is a 125 and it's available early part of next year. Lovely little beast, and what is very noticeable is it's actually quite small, and usually the 125cc versions get a little bit bigger. So if you're a little bit feared of a bigger scooter but you want that extra cc, you can have it in the way of this little Zip. But I've got something else to show you in the way of a Zip. The original 50cc over here in beautiful, shocking pink. Did I say beautiful then? I actually didn't mean it really. It's not my cup of tea. In fact, I feel like Parker, you know, yes, my lady.
Now, BMW, they're doing really well at the moment, good sales, and I think that's because they're adapting to the marketplace. Now, this one, the new 1150R that you can see here, it uses the well-proven engine from the big Tralee, but it's got lots of new little styling details. For one thing, they've hidden the oil coolers up behind this scoop. Makes it all very neat and tidy, and looks pretty funky, especially for a BMW. But that's not all, they've got a very nice 1100R just over the corner. Now, I said 1100R, but of course I meant 1100S, but that's the trouble with all these name changes. But anyway, that's my excuse. But this one is a new one, and it's a Schnitzer. This is an aftermarket company who've made some very tasty bits for it. In fact, if you start off with the base bike, which is around about 7.7, you can spend another 5 grand on it if you wanted to. Little bits and pieces like carbon fibre guards, but one of the most distinctive things is the new wheels. That one there, but you can see the back one even better if our cameraman friend can catch it. Glorious thing with that massive rim and a wider tyre. Still basically the same motor. You get a new colour scheme, there's even a bit of carbon up here. But altogether, it's BMW making a sort of a special bike for a bit of a niche market.
Ah, there you are. Now, I'm glad you're up here on this special stand. A special stand with a special machine, a prototype machine of this, the Silverwing. Now, some of you guys out there may remember the original Silverwing. Many, many moons ago, they did the GL650, which was like a mini Go Wing. Super machine it was. A good touring machine. Now, this has got to make a good touring machine because it is a super scooter, just under 600 cc's with 50 brake horsepower. So it's going to move along the road quite quick for a scooter, so they've accommodated everything. They've used twin shocks at the back here, they've set the engine up purposely in the unit so it handles super, and it brakes well as well. It's got good brakes on the front with a full set of proper forks. So it isn't, as we know scooters to be, a little wheeled small bike. It's actually a big machine, but low seat height, purposely for me, because look, I can reach the ground, which is great. But it is only a prototype. This will not be available till the beginning of next year, so you'll have to hang on. But I'm sure if you are a scooter user and you've got the bug like I have, this will be the perfect bike for you if you can handle 600 cc's.
Now, I've always said there's no such thing as a perfect bike, and it's very true, but Yamaha think that they're coming pretty close because they've got this one now, the brand new FZS 1000 Phaser. Now, I think if Mr. Angry owned a bike, this is the bike that he'd own. It just looks absolutely mad, looks crazy. Basically, it's a Phaser with an R1 motor. Wow, you say, yeah, incredible, isn't it? They've taken the top-rated superbike, the R1, and arguably the best-rated middleweight sort of street bike, the Phaser. Put them together, and this is what you get. Sounds like a song, that, doesn't it? Now, you might say it can't be as powerful as an R1. Well, I wouldn't be too sure about that, you know, because, OK, they've reshaped the power band a bit in this particular chassis to give it a little bit more grunt, a little bit more torque, but it still kicks out a whopping 141 brake horsepower, which is amazing for this style of bike. Should be good for about 160 miles an hour, which is incredible again. Obviously, it's not just an R1 motor shoved in a phaser frame. There needs to be quite a few changes because a lot more power there. So it retains the same frame, twin cradle style frame. It's still got that like the old phaser's got, or like the phaser still has, but it's a bit beefier now. And these top tubes up here, 48.6 millimeters them, they're massive. Just about get your hand around it. The biggest ever used by Yamaha. Also a few more things to beef it up a bit here and there. Still got fantastic brakes, R1 style brakes at the front, so you stand this on its nose, no problem. And I think this will get stood on its nose a lot, because I'm convinced that this is going to take the stunt world by storm. This is definitely going to be the next generation big powerful stunt machine. And I can see this being modified a lot. People will buy this and I can see it with exhaust under the tail unit, exit in there near the number plate, carbon fibre bits stuck all over it. I just think it's going to sell an absolute bomb. The big question is, how much is it going to cost? Well, I've been having a word with most of the Yamaha people here and nobody can tell me. They don't know and they're frightened to death of speculating. They daren't get it wrong. So the answer is we don't know how much it's going to cost, but the popular belief amongst the press is it's expected to be about £6,500, but we won't know until probably end of January.
Now, I'm always going on about various different types of clothing to keep you warm and dry on your motorcycle. Well, we've gone one step further on this occasion, and Paul is over there with a device that will definitely keep you warm and dry.
Now, we've all seen the Bmw C1, the bike with the roof thing over it, and I think it's fair to say it's never really caught on yet, but I think this might catch on. Look at this, it's fantastic, isn't it? Hardly a bike, you'd say. It's a car, but it's a three-wheeler, so yes, you can drive this on a motorcycle licence. It's a Merlin all the way from the USA. I think it looks fantastic, like a hot rod, really. Here's a motor out of one. Big 90-degree liquid-cooled V-twin motor, 1200 cc's that is there, and they're claiming 60 miles to the gallon, and they reckon it's good for 100 miles an hour. I think it's great. I think we should all have one for the winter. The only problem is it's going to cost you around about £11,000, and it's going to be 12 months from now at least before you can get your hands on one.